Let's take a look at the display system in AutoCAD Architecture. To begin this demonstration, I'll start with a blank drawing based on one of the factory template files. So go to New, make sure I'm set to Templates. This should automatically take you to the default template folders and show you a variety of factory template files. I'm going to pick the AEC model Imperial color table one and open that up. So it's a blank file with no name. Now it is important to use the template files when you're using AutoCAD Architecture because there's a lot of settings in these files that are kind of important to get a good output, particularly with your display representation. I get a lot of files from clients and colleagues where I can see that they're using old template files that have display configurations on this list with names that I recognize way back from early AutoCAD Architecture, back when it was called Architectural Desktop. And that's not a good thing. You should build new template files probably with each release so that you make sure that you get any changes or modifications that they've done to the object styles or the display system itself. But let's take a look here at the one that I just got from their factory template. This will demonstrate that even Autodesk makes mistakes with these display settings. If I go ahead and I just add a wall, this will be a generic wall in this file. I'm just going to draw it across, and I'm going to do a door, add a generic door, and place it right here. And why don't I do a window add as well? It's just a generic window. And I'm going to make that window, let's see, 3 feet wide by 5 feet high. Just make sure it cuts through the cut plane. So what do we have here for looking for the head height. Here we go, 6'8" head height, that's good. All right, yeah, that looks about right. Okay, so let's take a look at the first thing we'll look at here is a flaw from the maker of the product. If I switch from medium to high detail, look at that, that's weird. And if I change this down to low detail, oh, okay, no change at all. Kind of weird, right? So this is a flaw. Check your own template file and see if this or similar errors occur, and if they do, this is how to fix them. So we're going to go from the Home tab over to the Manage tab and go to Display Manager, and we'll start off here at the top with Configurations, and we'll just start at the very top. So I have Diagnostic. I want to go to the Configuration tab here. Okay, so this is how they've set up Diagnostic with an override. So it will always produce Plan Diagnostic regardless of the view direction. So if you're looking at it in plan or in 3D or perspective, it's always going to produce Plan Diagnostic, okay? Don't worry about what that specifically means, but it's locked in, and I agree with this setting. So let's go down to the next one. This is where we start to see a problem. They missed one. For top view, it should not be set to none. Your top view direction should be set, if we drop down on this list, to match what it says over here. So this one is called high detail, and top is typically plan for those of us in architecture. So what we do is we go down here and we look for plan high detail. That's what it should be set to. Then for bottom, I don't look at my buildings underneath, but diagnostic is fine. And then I agree here, left, right, front, and back should show the section elevation display representation set. And since this is high detail, model high detail makes sense for all other views than those specifically set here. Let's go to the next one, low. Oh, there we go again. Top should be set to plan low detail. Okay, don't know why that's set like that. Let's check medium, plan. They don't have a plan medium, but it might have made sense to do that. But it says plan, so that's correct, and model is correct. If you look at, this is model low, and this is just model and plan. So the intermediate looks okay to me. This one, another problem. medium detail top level. Why isn't this set to, what is it, plan top level? Right, that's what it should be set to. Plan only, and this is another override one, so it will always show in plan, so that's fine. Presentation, that looks good. Reflected, this one, again, reflected screen should be set to reflected screen. All right, and we can just keep going down the list here, oops, and see if there's any other mistakes. Structural, these should probably be set to section elevation. I don't use this one, but I think section elevation, that or model, check for your own work if you use the structural configuration. Let's go back and apply, and OK, and then boom, look at that, it fixed that. Low looks like this, high looks like that, medium looks like this, and presentation looks like that. All right, so that's all good. We can take a look at 3D. So there is that's presentation. Here's high 3D, and here's medium, and here's low. Okay, no difference whatsoever. Right? That's kind of funny. We'll take a look at that later. Let's go back and let's go to View, Top. Okay, and let's take a look at high detail versus medium detail. I don't see anything changing in there. So let's address that next part of this equation of issues. We'll focus on the door first, and we'll go to the Manage and Display Manager. We'll go down now. We're going to go, so we know about configurations. I think everybody understands configurations, right? Hopefully, these configurations are the ones that you toggle down here. So if you look at the list here, it'll be the exact same, I'll cancel, exact same list here. All right, that's where you're toggling. Let's jump all the way down to the representations by object and take a look at the door. So we go down here somewhere and we'll find door. Okay, and I click on door. You can expand it here, or you can just click on it like I did. What I want to do is I want to see all of these representations in this right pane. And I want to compare plan high to plan low. So let's take a look here. So plan high, if we come across, is assigned to the plan high detail set. Okay, that looks good. And it's not active anywhere else. Plan low is set to plan low detail, and everything else is clear in this list. Now we go up and down the list and see what else is added. So for plan high here, what else is on? Oh, they have the threshold, okay? And what about plan low? So here's plan low, no threshold. All right, so that's one thing that should be definitely different, right? So let's take a look at the threshold plan, because we should be seeing that in plan high detail. Okay, and look at that, everything is turned off. So it is available to you, but in the template file, they've chosen to turn this off. We could just turn these two items on. Threshold A and B, that's you can go in here and take a look. It's left side, right side. So we'll go ahead and do that. That's one simple little change, and apply and OK. And look at that, boom. Now we have that information in medium, high, but not low. Okay, so why is it showing up in medium? Okay, let's go back. So we'll go to representation by object, go to door, take a look at this one, the set up here for plan. It's activated, the threshold is activated in several of these display sets. And if you don't want the threshold plan at all, you don't want it to show up at all, you can just uncheck that. Okay, we'll talk about if you want it to look different in plan, that's something else, but we'll turn it off right now. Okay, so now if I go to high detail, there's the threshold, then low detail, and medium detail. Okay, so it only shows up in the high detail. That's cool. Another thing that might want to be shown in the high detail is the stop. So let's go back. We'll go down here to door, and we'll take a look at plan high detail. And we'll double click and we'll see, oh, the stop has been turned off. So we'll turn that on. And OK, and apply, and OK. All right, so now you get the stop. So this truly, to me, is a higher detail than the medium detail, and definitely higher than the low detail. So those are just some basic things that you can do in a default template file to improve it. Okay, of course, you would save this as your personal template file. And if you don't know how to do that, you just do a save as, and you change the name down here to DWT, and then give it a name, my own template file .dwt. Okay, let's see what else we can tinker with. Let's say we want the threshold in both high detail and medium detail, but we want it to look different. So let's go ahead and do that. So we go back here, and what we can take a look at is right now this is the medium detail, and I have my threshold plan here. If I turn that on, I'm gonna get this. There's no other way right now of what we're doing that's going to change that. So what I can do is I can do a selection of the threshold plan. I can right click and duplicate it, and I can change the name to threshold medium, or what might make more sense is calling the other one high, but the other one is locked in, so I'm going to leave that one as is and call this one medium. Okay. If I haven't explained it, see the icons with what looks like a little person on them? Those are copies. They can be deleted and renamed. The other ones without the person on there are baked into the program. So elevation, for example, and model, they're baked in. And whatever settings are available in there, that's the fixed set. All right, so we'll go back here now to threshold medium plan. We'll assign that to plan and nothing else, and make some modifications. Because I copied it, I got the same settings turned on. Now I'm going to do settings I probably wouldn't do on a real project, but just to demonstrate options, I'm going to go ahead and make these two gray, and I'll go ahead and just make each of these 2, 2, and then make these 1 and 1. And OK. And let's see, this has been assigned to the plan set. Okay, so we should be good. There we go. So now when I switch from high detail to medium detail, I see that I have differences in the threshold itself. And then I go to low, and there's nothing. Now these settings that I'm discussing are they're global. They affect every object. Well, in this case, it's just a door. So every time I do door add, I will get the same results, the same display results. So if I go here now to high, I'm going to get that. If I were to do, let's say, maybe bring a door in from the content library, it may not behave the same way because it may have something called display representation overrides. And so we're going to take a look at that next. I'm going to bring my wall over a little bit longer. Okay. So I'm going to copy this door over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new door. This one's called standard. So I'm going to do a copy door style and assign. And I'm going to go to the general first and give it a new name, and I'll just say door type 2. All right, and so now when I pick on it, it is a style of its own. I can set it to standard, but I don't want standard. I want door style 2. When I select that door, I can right-click and go to Edit Door Style. Notice I'm picking the style. I can go to Display Properties, and I can now get into overrides. So it's at the style level for this new door. So I can do the threshold plan colors, and for this one, well, let's turn one of the thresholds off and make the other one red. So what this is the threshold plan. Remember, this one now is being used for the high, right? So I've got the other one we called medium. So I'm not going to touch that one. I'm only touching the one being used under high detail plan. And there we go. So if I go to the medium detail, it's going to look like the others. It has that one high detail threshold plan difference, right? So we can continue on with that, make a little more of a change to it. So that's the A side. So I can go, what is A here is 2 over, and let's say 1 up. Right. So now if I keep working with that door, so if I say door add, and I pick type 2, it's always going to look like that. Okay, because it has that override on it. That whole collection of doors by style will behave in the same way. So each time you want doors in your project that have different kinds of characteristics, they're going to be done as style overrides. The first stuff I did was the global settings. And if you get to the point of our custom content, there really aren't global settings anymore. We have customized them so much that each door is pretty much controlled totally by the style. So the other way that you can do this display override stuff, I'm going to copy this door over. I'm going to pick on the door. I'm going to right click, and instead of doing an edit door style override, I'm going to do the object display override. So here I am only interested in making display changes to that particular door, not the door style, just the door. So I can go here. Now you'll see there's material overrides too. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm talking about display overrides. So again, we have the threshold. I'm going to throw an override on that. So you can kind of look at it as like an override on an override. But it's not really. It's looking at what it was set to, and then it's going to throw an override. I guess you could call it an override on override, because right here it's telling you it's already been overridden. But I'm going to bypass everything and take over control. So for example here, I'm going to make this one gray, turn it on, and I'll make this one, let's see, what is C? C is 2, and I'll make this one 4. And OK. So that door has unique behavior. Even though this door is considered a type 2 door, it has settings uniquely overridden on it. And you're not going to get this door to look like that other door anymore. So I can go here and I can go there, but I'm always just going to get what the style was set to. I think if you do a MA, you can get it. Yeah, MA is match properties. Then it will paint the properties over on that other door. But it will recognize that this is a door with an override on the object itself. If you're working in a team where you're all sharing files, I'd urge caution on doing these kinds of overrides. They are tricky to discover unless you're always looking for them. So someone might be working on this particular door and just can't understand why it's not behaving like the type 2 door really should without the override. Let's see, how do I get, so edit and then I just uncheck that and it'll go back. Right, so now this is in its true style form. This is a custom style with an object override on it. So just be aware of that. There's you can do these overrides on the style level or the individual object level. And even though I'm just talking about doors, this applies to most of the objects in the product. Curtain walls, MV blocks, whatever. There's anything you can think of. This window over here. Okay, so let's go back to understanding the whole lineup. If we go down here to the door, you now see that you have these representations. So elevation has this lineup of things. Model will have the same lineup of things, but plan will have a larger lineup of display components for how it would look in plan. But the primary set pretty much stays the same. You have panel and frame and stop. If you go to elevation, you have panel, frame, and stop. Now, something that is frustrating if you're getting more advanced in your use and you want to customize, if you go to, say, model, and you go to other and add, you're going to find you have frame, leaf, and glass components that you can add custom blocks to. Very nice. This is fantastic. That's how we were able to create a lot of custom things for doors. But really disappointing is when you get into plan, even plan high detail, and you go to other, add, this is all you get, the frame. You can't add stuff to the panel. You can't replace the panel or the glass. You could only do things with the frame. I don't know. I don't really understand the logic of that. It should have had the same set of components that you can work with on all display representations. Anyway, be aware of that. So we have, which I hope is clear, we have the representations, and we have the ones with the little face, which means they're they're created by a person other than the software essentially, and they can be removed. So if I take threshold plan here and uncheck it, make sure it's not connected in any way, I should be able to delete it. If it still tells you it can't be deleted, then the object or object style has an override associated with it. But knowing all this, you can purge a lot of these out and just have the core set if you wanted to. To make your own is very easy. You're just right-click and you duplicate here, and then you can do like a model special or something, and it will function as long as it's assigned to a set and a configuration. So we'll take a look at that. Maybe I'll just delete this. Well, I'll show you what I got. I got that because what did I copy? I copied model. If I want the plan stuff, I should duplicate the plan stuff. Okay. So I'm going to undo this. Delete. Okay. So these sets, let's go up and take a look at that. The sets are up here. And this is actually, to me, a much easier way of dealing with the representations and sets than trying to work with the sets. I very rarely visit the sets. The sets, we're in high detail down here. So this is showing in bold, plan high detail. If we go to display representation control, you'll see this large collection of all of the objects and then the display representations for those objects that are used in this particular set. So plan high detail, if we go down to door, where's door here? Okay, so plan high detail set should have the door set information. If we scroll down, we'll see where it's checked. So it's using plan high detail display representations. If I scroll any farther, there's nothing. Oh, here we go. Here's the threshold, right? So to me, it's a lot easier to figure that out by working with the object. So if I go to door and I go plan high detail, which is in bold here, I can see, oh, here's the plan high detail checked, and here's the threshold checked. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. So we'll jump past that. Now we know that we have this collection of all the settings here. So for example, you could make something where you have the window in 3D and the door in 2D, and in your set, that's how you've done it. So, for example, if I were to go down here to the window, I could go and look for model high detail, and I could just check this box right here. Boom, that puts it into that set. So when the window's viewed in plan view from the top under the plan high detail set, it'll show itself in 3D. And if I don't uncheck these other things that it's doing, I might get some erroneous stuff in here. It's got plan high detail, so it would be 3D and plan, showing both at the same time. Just to prove my point, I'm going to hit OK and go down and see. You see everything. And what you don't know is that there's redundant line work now. There's the 3D representation and also the 2D plan view because of what I just did there. If I go to medium, you'll see group, that goes away, and high detail. All right. Now, I would just exercise a little caution about having multiple things turned on, and the only reason I say that is I've had some periodic crashes where I've had the 3D and the 2D representations on at the same time, but I can't attribute it to anything at this time. It could be my own errors, some display graphic issues, but if you see something like that happen, then it would probably have to do with something in the system not being happy with displaying those two things at the same time. It should be fine, but I've had some crashes. So let's go back and fix that. So I'm back to the window here, and I don't want the model on. Boom, apply, and OK. Yeah, we're good. Going back to the display manager, that takes us up to the configurations. If I click here, we'll see in the right pane, we'll see that information over here. If I go to high detail, we'll see this information. This is the better way to look at it, as you go to the individual configurations, and then you see the sets. So what we learn here is that a set is actually view dependent. That's the final level of control. So it makes sense that when you select top or plan view in your project, it gives you the plan high detail display representation set. And you could assume that that means all the objects are set to plan high detail, but I've just proved that you could override that and have a window in 3D even though it's in top plan view. But a good laid out template file will have these in logical order. I think that's really all that we need to discuss here. Now, there is one other option in here. For each of these configurations, you could have unique cut planes. So that's kind of nice. So, for example, if under high detail, for example, you figured out that 4'6" is a better cut plane, and then low detail you prefer using 3 feet or something, it's perfectly fine to do that, and it'll just switch accordingly. Now, while we're on the subject of configurations, I think everybody should have this in their template file. So what we're going to do here is we're going to find let's see, where is it here? High detail. We're going to take that, and we're going to hold the control key down and drag it up to this configurations folder, and it drops down here, high detail 2. Now I'm going to go to general, and I'm going to call this one model high detail, and get rid of the 2 value there. And I'm going to go to configuration tab, and I'm going to run down to override, and I'm just going to override it for any view direction. And what happens is that this thing default, what that's set to, will always occur now. So the model high detail display representation set, basically saying, I want to see everything in model, no matter what view I'm looking at. I think everybody could use that. It'll make sure that when you're looking at it in plan view, for example, that you can turn everything on and make sure you're seeing everything. Apply and OK, and I'll just demonstrate. If I go to model high detail, boom, I'm seeing everything in model now. All right, so that's a good one to add to your template file. What else do we need to take a look at? The sets have something hidden in them that you may not know about. The way to discuss that is to bring in some other file. So I'm going to go to our content catalog, I'm going to go to streets, and I'm going to bring in a building mass and bring in this house and just pop in. These are very generic buildings that we have. I'll bring it over here. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to our customized tool palette and bring in the section call out. And I'm going to cut a section right here. Oops. There we go. And I'll go ahead and cut the section, but I'm not interested in the section. I don't care about that. That has nothing to do with what I'm going to discuss right now. What I'm going to show you is when we go into 3D view and we click on the section tool, right click, and enable live section, boom, you get this. There are some minor adjustments that you can do to what that live section does to your model in your sets, your display sets. So let's take a look at the display manager. Let's go to sets. Let's take a look at the one that's active right now, model high detail. And we'll go over to display options, and you'll see down here. Now it knows that I'm in a live section that has been enabled. Otherwise, it would say not enabled. So what I can do here is I can hide surface hatch, and this is what happens. It takes all the surface hatch, but it leaves the section hatch on, so that's nice to know. Another thing that you can do, oops, is you can go ahead and unhide the section body component, and that does this. It shows you in line work the stuff that's been cut. I'm going to bring this back. I'm going to turn that off again. And now what I can do here is I can activate this. So it says section AZ blah, blah. You can read that yourself. So what that has to do with is it's reading, you're telling it to read the display configuration range. So if I just go ahead and put, you're going to see nothing, right? Yeah, the hatch came back on, but I turned it on. But there's really nothing changing in the file. And that's because the range is for that display configuration is set to like 1,000 feet by default. So let's go back and modify the range. So it's using model high detail. We'll go to cut plane, and the range is 1,000 feet. What if I bring that down to 8 feet? All right, so it recognizes that now in the live section. And let's take a look now about the hatch. I don't remember if I turned it on or not. So down here, show materials where display range intersects AEC objects. Okay, so that should put the hatch pattern, oh, it did. So here's the hatch pattern running across the top, right, for the exterior siding and also for the sheetrock. So if I undo that, just to demonstrate, if I undo that, boom, and we'll go here. See, then the it doesn't cut the horizontal the way that it's doing the vertical with the material and the red outline. All right, so that's some interesting stuff if you didn't know about that. Now the other thing that's available in here under display options in the sets is classifications. If you don't know what classifications are, this might throw you a little bit. But if you are familiar with it, I'll just demonstrate very quickly. You need classifications in order to make that do anything at all. So let's do high detail. Now, I don't think there are any classifications in the default objects. No. So I have to bring in something that does have classifications. I'll bring in our doors. I'll do a commercial door. I'll bring in this, just the first door here. This is classical. We classified a lot of our objects. So I'm going to bring that door in and show you that it's been given a classification. So we go down to the extended tab, and you can see it's been classified as an interior door and a proposed interior door. So it's got those two classifications. So I might copy this over and copy this over. This one here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change it to, let's just say this is a new door. And let's classify this one as a window. maybe I should classify it as an exterior door. No, yeah, okay, let's see what happens. Okay. Right, so I'm just looking at all this stuff in plan view. I'll go to Display Manager, Sets. The current one is Plan High Detail. So you can see my classifications came in now. And if I just do this and uncheck the doors, it won't show doors in this Plan High Detail set. Oh, they're gone. You know, make of that what you will if you find that useful. It's interesting, right? But they will reappear under a different display. Let's see, high detail. And then, because I changed some classifications, I should be able to do some nuance work here. So I think I do want door exterior. And let's see, I classified something as new. Let's see, proposed. Let's see. Go back. There we go. And let's just put that back on. Okay, so this door is its exterior and it's proposed. I forgot what I was doing with the other one. Medium, what did I do with this one? This one is also proposed, but interior. Oh, I see, they're all proposed doors. All right, but anyway, that shows you that you could do some nuance control in what you see under your display. It's under the configurations, but don't confuse the configurations necessarily with the sets, right? So a configuration doesn't necessarily have to, like medium, doesn't necessarily have to match up with this. You could make medium match up with model if you wanted to. Not smart, it probably would throw people off, but you can. So I prefer to stick with that. But so you could make yourself a new configuration that has a custom set that might even have a custom custom settings, display representations by object for unique objects where you want them to have very unique characteristics. I think that covers it. I'm going to do another video expanding on this information on how to show hardware and glass indoors in plan view if you really want to. I'm not sure I recommend doing it, but I've seen requests for that. So we'll do another video on that.